You're not behind because of bad luck. You're behind because no one ever showed you the silent habits draining your potential, and you've been repeating them for years without realizing. This isn't about how much money you make, it's about how much control you've given away. The damage doesn't always come from massive financial mistakes. Most of the time, it comes from the slow, steady erosion of unconscious decisions. The spending you don't question, the goals you never set, the stories you tell yourself about why things will get better eventually, while nothing changes. Stoicism isn't about chasing wealth, it's about building a foundation of discipline, clarity, and personal responsibility, so you stop reacting and start deciding. When applied to money, that mindset becomes a tool for freedom. Not luxury, not ego, just the ability to live on your terms. This is part 2 of a 2-part series, revealing 14 money habits that quietly keep people stuck. In this video, we'll walk through the final 7 behaviors, the ones most people overlook, justify, or avoid. Each one followed by a Stoic lens, how to respond, rebuild, and regain control. If this matters to you, like this video, share it with someone who needs the same shift and subscribe to Victory Stoic. Then, drop a comment with, "I choose clarity over comfort." Or tell us the money habit that held you back until you finally changed it. Someone else might need to hear your story. Let's get into part 2. 7 habits left. All of them fixable, if you're ready to face them. Number 8. You're afraid to talk about money. You joke about being broke, but avoid real conversations about how to stop being broke. You see someone close to you succeed, someone in your own circle, your own family, but instead of asking how, you keep your distance. You tell yourself it would be awkward, intrusive, or embarrassing. So you stay quiet, you stay confused, and you stay stuck. This fear isn't about politeness, it's about pride. And that pride is expensive. Money is one of the most important forces shaping your life, yet it's the one topic most people treat like a taboo. You grew up hearing that it's rude to talk about income, that it's not your place to ask how someone made it, that if you're struggling, you should keep it to yourself. So you do. You don't ask questions, you don't study the people around you, you don't say, "Show me." And because of that, you miss out on gold. Seneca said, "Ignorance is the cause of fear." If you fear talking about money, it's because you haven't built the muscle, because deep down, you don't want to face how little you know. But the Stoic never hides from truth, especially not the uncomfortable kind. Let's take a common example. Your cousin, same age, same city, suddenly starts doing well. She used to struggle just like you, but now she's getting brand deals, new clients, building something with real traction. You're curious, you wonder how she did it. But instead of asking, you scroll her profile and scoff. Tell yourself she's just got lucky or had connections. Maybe you mute her stories because it makes you feel behind. You could have called, you could have asked, you didn't. That wasn't humility, that was fear wearing politeness. Or your friend, he's got a stable job, but more than that, he always seems in control. His bills are handled, his investments are growing. He never flaunts it, but you notice the discipline. You're drowning in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, wondering if he knows something you don't. And he probably does, but you never ask. You'd rather keep pretending you're just having a rough patch than say, "Man, can I ask how you manage your money?" That one sentence could open a door. Instead, you keep it shut. This silence keeps people poor. Not because knowledge is rare, but because courage is. You're surrounded by people who figured out one piece of the game you haven't. But your ego would rather stay confused than be the student. That's not Stoic. That's self-sabotage. The Stoic seeks truth over comfort. He asks the hard questions. He risks looking uninformed in the short term to build strength for the long term. He doesn't care if the conversation is awkward. He cares if the ignorance is expensive. Let's look at Marco, 40, laid off during a downturn. His younger brother, 2 years into e-commerce, was doing well, more than well. Marco was skeptical at first, then silently resentful. He thought this online stuff is dumb while secretly wondering how it worked. Months passed. No job, no direction. One night, frustrated and humbled, he texted, "Can we talk?" They met for coffee. That conversation turned into mentorship. 6 months later, Marco had his first profitable month in an online business. The only difference between bitterness and breakthrough was one question: can you show me? Here's a tip you can use today. Identify 3 people in your life who are better than you in some financial area: earning, saving, investing, budgeting. Send one message: hey, I've been trying to get better at something. I admire how you handle it. If you ever have 15 minutes to share what's worked for you, I'd love to learn. That's it. Simple. No ego, just respect. Most successful people are happy to share, if you're humble enough to ask. Money is not a dirty topic, it's a tool. If you avoid it, you stay ruled by it. If you face it, you start controlling it. A Stoic man doesn't fear numbers, and he doesn't fear knowledge. He knows that pretending you have it all figured out is the fastest way to stay broke. So speak up, ask, learn. You can't fix what you won't talk about, and you can't grow from people you refuse to learn from. Drop the pride, pick up the phone. The answers are closer than you think. Number 9, you hesitate to invest. You work hard, save consistently, and feel good seeing your bank account grow. But that money just sits there. Month after month, year after year. Earning nothing. Worse than nothing, actually, because inflation is silently eating away at it. Your money is losing value while you pretend it's safe. That's not safety. That's slow decay. Most people think they're being smart by playing it safe, but safety without strategy is just fear in disguise. The real reason they don't invest? Not because they don't have enough, but because they don't understand it. Or worse, they're scared. Scared of losing money, scared of making a mistake, scared of not knowing enough. So they wait. Wait until they learn more. Wait until the market feels right. Wait until someone tells them exactly what to do. Meanwhile, time passes. Opportunity compounds for others, but not for them. Because money that sleeps doesn't grow, it dies. Epictetus said, ignorance is a choice when knowledge is available. And today, knowledge is everywhere. YouTube, books, online courses, people around you. What's missing isn't information, it's courage. The courage to act with limited knowledge. The courage to lose a little in the short term to gain massively in the long term. The courage to begin. Let's break this down simply. If you saved $10,000 and left it in a savings account for 10 years at 0.5% interest, you'd end up with about $10,500. Maybe. But inflation would have killed the purchasing power of that money. What used to buy 10 things now buys 7. On the other hand, if you had invested it in a basic index fund averaging 7% annual return, that same $10,000 could grow to nearly $20,000 over the same period. That's the cost of hesitation. You lose money by doing nothing. Let's look at Tom, 38, mid-level manager. He made good money, saved over $50,000, but he never invested. Too risky, he said. Too complicated. Then he watched a friend, same age, lower salary, start a sidecar wash business. Small operation, one location, part-time. 4 years later, that friend had 2 shops, cash flowing monthly, and still kept his job. Tom stayed in the same place, not because he wasn't smart, but because he thought security came from holding, not building. Or Lena, who started a YouTube channel around her hobby, minimalist cooking. She had no camera skills, no audience, but she posted once a week, learned video editing, added affiliate links to her tools and ingredients. After a year, she was earning $500 a month passively. Nothing fancy, but it's stacked. Her content now earns her while she sleeps, not from going big, but from starting small consistently. That's the key. You don't need to be an expert, you just need to move. Start small, stay steady, learn on the way. Here are 5 beginner-friendly ways to invest that don't require massive risk. 1. Gold. Not exciting, but solid. A long-term store of value. Buy gradually, hold long. Especially useful as a hedge during economic uncertainty. 2. Blue-chip stocks or ETFs. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, or low-fee index funds like VOO or SPY. They won't explode overnight, but they rarely crash and burn. Let time do the heavy lifting. 3. Small business ideas. A laundry kiosk, a car wash bay, vending machines, or even a mobile coffee cart. These aren't glamorous, but they can be surprisingly stable income streams if done right. 4. Digital content with affiliate links. YouTube, blogs, review sites. You don't need millions of views. You need consistency and a niche. Build once, get paid repeatedly. 5. Yourself. Courses, skills, certifications. Anything that increases your earning power is an investment with lifelong returns. Don't underestimate this one. Still unsure? Try this rule. Never invest what you're not willing to leave untouched for 5 years. That money shouldn't be emergency funds. It shouldn't be your rent money. It should be capital with a job, to grow slowly while you focus on building income elsewhere. Tip to apply now. Set aside 5% of your income as a growth capital fund. Every month, push that amount into a separate account labeled investment only. When it hits a meaningful threshold, say $500, use it. Buy a stock, enroll in a course, launch a micro business, not later. Now, the point is not perfection, it's momentum. A Stoic doesn't fear risk, he respects it. And the best way to respect risk is not to avoid it, but to prepare for it. Learn, act, adjust, repeat. Wealth doesn't come from waiting for perfect timing. It comes from building while others hesitate. If you leave your money still, it stays small. If you put it to work, it starts working for you. Slowly, quietly, steadily. And over time, it gives you something saving never will: freedom. The freedom to choose your time, your work, your life, on your terms. So stop waiting. Start building. Number 10. You neglect your health to save money. You skip the gym membership because $30 a month feels like a luxury. You eat cheap fast food because it's quicker, easier, and you tell yourself it's basically the same. You sleep late, overstimulate your brain with screens, then wake up foggy and slow day after day. You call this being frugal. You say you're just trying to get by. But let's be clear. Saving money by damaging your health is not discipline. It's self-sabotage. The logic is simple. Your body is your first asset. Not your income, not your job, not your network. Your body carries all of it. It's the vehicle for your ambition. And if that vehicle is running on fumes, leaking energy, dragging through pain, you're not building wealth. You're burning time. Most people treat health like a backup system. Something to be dealt with later, when they're more successful, more stable, more ready. But the truth is, your physical state affects every single thing you do. How you think, how you work, how you focus, how you lead, how you respond to pressure. When your body is neglected, your output shrinks. When your energy drops, your decisions weaken. And when that becomes a pattern, you start falling behind without even noticing. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That includes your impulses. The impulse to sleep late, to eat trash, to avoid movement, to keep pushing through burnout instead of learning how to restore properly. Mastery begins with the body. Let's look at Ray, 33, a web developer. Long hours, high stress, no routine. He ate whatever was fast, slept 4 to 5 hours most nights, told himself he didn't have time for fitness or cooking or rest. In the short term, he survived. In the long term, his performance tanked. He couldn't focus, snapped at people, started losing contracts, not because he wasn't talented, but because he was tired. His mind was blurry, his posture weak, his spirit dull. The fix wasn't more hustle. It was a return to the basics. Clean food, sunlight, movement, sleep. Within 3 months, everything shifted. Not because the world changed, but because he showed up with clarity again. Here's the brutal truth. When you cut spending on your body, you're not saving. You're borrowing against your future energy. You're making today slightly easier by making tomorrow much harder. A $10 lunch instead of a $3 microwave meal isn't wasteful if it fuels your brain. A $60 pair of running shoes isn't a splurge if it gets you outside moving every day. A quality mattress isn't a nice to have when poor sleep wrecks your hormones and decision-making. This is not about being fancy. It's about protecting the engine. Many people proudly talk about cutting expenses while their fridge is filled with junk. Their muscles are shrinking, and they haven't broken a sweat in weeks. They don't see the cost yet, but the cost is coming. Brain fog, low testosterone, brittle focus, mood swings, early aging, doctor bills. You can't out-earn chronic fatigue. You can't side hustle your way out of a broken body. The system breaks down quietly, and when it does, every area of your life starts running on 60%. So how do you fix it? First, reframe health as a non-negotiable investment, not a flexible expense. Just like you wouldn't skip paying rent, don't skip paying for your body. Set a basic monthly budget. $30, $50 for movement, gym, classes, home equipment, $200 for clean food and time, not just money, for sleep and rest. Second, build a foundational health routine, something so simple you can't break it. It could be, wake up at the same time daily, drink water before coffee, stretch for 5 minutes, walk 20 minutes, eat protein with every meal, no screens 1 hour before bed. Simple, repeatable, effective. The goal isn't perfection, it's restoration. Daily, consistently. Third, choose quality over cheap. Whether it's food, supplements, gear, or even information. Stop buying the cheapest solution just because it's easy. Buy what lasts. Buy what supports you long term. Because a strong body doesn't just help you survive, it changes how you show up. A sharper brain closes more deals. Better sleep solves problems faster. Stronger lungs stay calm under pressure. And a healthy man walks into the room with presence. You can't fake that. Tip to apply today. Pick one area: sleep, movement, or nutrition. Improve it by 10%. Sleep 30 minutes earlier. Add one clean meal per day. Walk after every lunch. You don't need a full overhaul. You need momentum. Once your body starts working with you, money flows differently. Ideas come faster. Work feels lighter. You become magnetic, not because of what you own, but because of how you move. The Stoic doesn't waste strength. He cultivates it. He doesn't chase money at the cost of energy, because he knows wealth without vitality is just a gold-plated cage. Don't be the man who saves $100 by skipping the gym, only to lose $10,000 in productivity. Don't be the man who buys cheap food today and pays with medical bills later. Don't be the man who shows up in expensive clothes, but has no fire behind his eyes. You don't need a six-pack. You don't need to become a monk, but you do need to respect the machine. Because when the body breaks, everything else does too. Invest in your health like your life depends on it. Because it does. Number 11. You pay too much tax because you don't understand the rules. Most people treat taxes like the weather, something that happens to them. They get their paycheck, see the deduction, shrug, and move on. Once a year, they file with a basic online tool, hope for a refund, and think that's the end of it. But the truth is, if you don't know how taxes work, you're probably paying more than you should. Not because you're being punished, but because you're uninformed. And ignorance is expensive. The wealthy understand this. They don't just earn more, they keep more. Not by breaking laws or hiding money, but by understanding the system and playing within it. They use legal tools, smart structures, and long-term thinking to reduce how much goes to the government and increase how much stays in their pocket. That's not cheating. That's strategy. Meanwhile, most middle-class workers hand over thousands more than necessary, simply because no one ever taught them how tax works beyond submit your W-2 and hope for the best. Let's get specific. If you live in the US, here are some of the tools high performers use to lower their tax burden. 1. Roth IRA, traditional IRA. These individual retirement accounts allow you to invest money that grows tax-free or tax-deferred. A Roth IRA is funded with after-tax dollars but grows tax-free forever. A traditional IRA gives you an upfront deduction. If you're not using at least one, you're leaving money behind every single year. 2. HSA, Health Savings Account, triple tax benefit. Contributions are pre-tax, growth is tax-free, and withdrawals for medical use are tax-free. Yet most people never touch it. 3. Capital gains versus earned income. Selling an investment after holding it for more than a year means paying long-term capital gains tax, which is typically lower than ordinary income tax. Wealthy people shift more of their income this way. Less salary, more long-term investments. 4. Starting a business or side hustle. This is where it gets real. Employees pay taxes before they spend. Business owners spend before they pay taxes. That one shift changes everything. If you have a side hustle, you may be able to deduct a portion of your home internet, phone bill, equipment, travel, meals, software, education, even part of your rent if you have a dedicated office space. But most people never bother because they think it's not worth it. It is. 5. LLC or S-Corp setup. Structuring your business correctly can reduce self-employment tax, allow you to take part of your income as dividends, taxed lower, and open up retirement accounts like a solo 401k with higher contribution limits. If you freelance, consult, or make any kind of independent income and don't operate under a legal entity, you're overpaying, guaranteed. Let's take Sam, 37, software engineer. He earns $120 salary, pays around $30 in taxes. His colleague Marcus, same age, same income, started a side coding business on Upwork, set up an LLC, funneled part of his income through it, and maxed out a solo 401k. Result? He legally reduced his tax bill by $8,000. Same income, same job. Different tax literacy. That gap didn't come from genius. It came from asking questions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, The impediment to action advances action. In this case, the impediment is your lack of knowledge, and the way forward is not to complain, it's to learn. But here's the catch. Tax laws are not designed to be easy. They're complex on purpose. The system rewards those who slow down, read, ask, and plan. If you don't do that, you pay for everyone who does. Tip to apply today. Start with one thing. Learn how retirement accounts work in your country. If you're in the US, Google Roth IRA versus traditional IRA explained simply. If you're self-employed, Google LLC versus sole proprietor tax differences. Spend one evening watching tax literacy videos instead of Netflix. That 1 hour could save you thousands every year for life. Then take the next step. Track your expenses, especially if you earn income outside your day job. Start collecting receipts, noting business-related purchases, mileage, meals, subscriptions. Use a free app or spreadsheet. When tax season comes, hand that to a proper CPA, not just a basic filer. The return on that decision alone is worth it. The Stoic doesn't accept what he's told blindly. He asks, he studies, he plans. The government will take what you don't protect. Your job isn't just to earn, it's to defend, and knowledge is your shield. Stop overpaying by accident. Start learning on purpose. You don't need to be a financial expert. You just need to stop being passive. Number 12. You live without clear financial goals. You wake up, go to work, pay some bills, maybe save a little, if there's anything left. You tell yourself you're doing fine because you're not drowning. But here's the truth. Floating is not the same as moving forward. Most people don't fail financially because they're lazy. They fail because they're directionless. They live without a clear target, and so every dollar they earn becomes reactive, spent, forgotten, or scattered across random good intentions that lead nowhere. No plan, no finish line, just motion without meaning. Imagine getting into a car and driving without a destination. You keep the tank full. You follow traffic rules, but you have no idea where you're going. So you just keep turning, hoping one of the roads will feel right. That's how most people manage money. They think effort is enough. It's not. Without direction, discipline doesn't matter. You could be the most frugal, most hardworking person in the world, but if you don't know what you're building toward, you'll always feel stuck. This is the silent trap. You're doing your best, but nothing changes. You save a bit, but don't know what it's for. You invest blindly, but don't know the timeline. You dream of freedom, but can't define the number that would give you peace. Without a number, a date, or a purpose, you're not progressing, you're just maintaining. And maintenance is not wealth. It's quiet stagnation. Seneca said, if one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. You can work hard, earn more, even cut back. But without a goal, none of it will bring you clarity. That's the real cost of drifting financially. Not failure, but confusion. You don't know when to celebrate. You don't know what to prioritize. You feel like you're behind, but you can't say behind what. Let's look at Derek, 36, earns $80K a year. No debt, lives within his means. Everyone calls him responsible. But when asked what his financial goal is, he shrugs. Says something vague like, I want to be comfortable, or I just don't want to struggle. So he saves randomly, sometimes $200 per month, sometimes nothing. He invests in whatever's trending. But 5 years pass and his net worth hasn't grown. Why? Because he had no specific plan. Comfort isn't a goal. It's a feeling. And feelings don't compound. Then there's Jin, same age, same income. But he set one goal. I want to have $50,000 saved in 5 years to put toward a down payment. That's $10,000 per year, roughly $833 per month. Not always easy, but every choice he made had a target behind it. When tempted to upgrade his car, he remembered the number. When deciding between vacations or staycations, he checked the number. 5 years later, Jin had the $50,000, not because he earned more, but because his money had a job. Money without purpose is always wasted. Even when you think you're being careful, you're just slowly leaking. Think about it like watering a field. If you don't know where the crops are planted, you're just soaking dirt. But if you've marked your rows, retirement, emergency fund, business capital, dream trip, then every drop counts. Every dollar becomes intentional. It's no longer about how much you have, it's about how well it's aimed. This doesn't require spreadsheets or fancy financial tools. It requires honesty. Ask yourself, how much do I want saved 1 year from now? What am I saving for specifically? What does financial freedom look like for me, not just feel like? Write down a number. Attach a timeline. That act alone puts you ahead of 90% of people. Then break it down, monthly, weekly, daily if needed. The goal isn't perfection, it's clarity. Because clarity gives you leverage. When you know where you're going, you make decisions faster. You say no easier, you recover quicker from setbacks because you still see the road. Tip to apply now. Pick one financial goal, just one. Make it concrete and measurable. For example, I will save $12,000 in the next 12 months to quit my job and start a freelance business. Then reverse engineer the number. That's $1,000 a month. Now ask, what needs to change in my income, spending, or lifestyle to make that happen? Suddenly, money becomes tactical, not emotional. The Stoic doesn't float. He navigates. He doesn't wait for better winds. He adjusts his sails. Living without a financial goal is like lifting weights without counting reps. You'll get tired, but you won't get stronger. You'll feel busy, but you won't see results. So stop drifting, set the course, then steer. Number 13, you blame others for your poverty and resent the rich. You grew up on stories where the villain was always rich. The greedy landlord, the corrupt CEO, the heartless banker. Movies, fairy tales, TV shows, they all planted the same idea in your head. Rich means selfish, powerful means cruel, and poor means noble. Over time, it became more than fiction. It became your internal programming. So now, every time you see a man in a nice car or living in a bigger house, you flinch. You assume he cheated, inherited, or exploited someone. You mutter things like, must be nice, or he probably screwed people over. It's not analysis. It's resentment in disguise, and it's killing your progress. This isn't just emotional poison, it's practical sabotage. Because if you secretly believe wealth is immoral, you will never let yourself have it. Your subconscious will block every step forward. You'll self-sabotage your business, undercharge for your skills, avoid investment opportunities. Not because you're lazy, but because you've been trained to think that success makes you a bad man. Seneca said, "Wealth is the slave of a wise man and the master of a fool." Money is a tool. In the hands of a disciplined man, it creates freedom, not corruption. Security, not greed. Strength, not arrogance. It all depends on who's in control. Let's be honest, blaming others might feel righteous, but it solves nothing. Hating the rich won't pay your mortgage. Blaming the system won't fund your retirement. Pointing fingers won't get your kids through college. Resentment doesn't build anything, it only burns. Here's the real truth most men don't want to admit. Money is not happiness, but lack of it destroys peace. You don't fight with your wife over love. You fight over bills. You don't miss your daughter's recital because you don't care. You miss it because you're stuck in traffic coming back from a second shift. Without money, you're not in control of your life, you're reacting to it. When you have money, you don't have to argue over a $70 grocery run. You can take your son fishing on a weekday, not just when the calendar says it's okay. You're not forced to choose between rest and survival. You don't need to check your account before saying yes to your wife's dream weekend. That's not luxury, that's freedom. And you don't get it by hating the people who have it. Take Rick, 46, warehouse supervisor in Ohio. Honest man, pays his taxes, loves his family, but he's bitter. He complains daily about the rich getting richer, scorns anyone driving a Tesla, says things like this country's rigged or you gotta be born into money. He scrolls social media for hours, judging people he doesn't know. But he's never read a single book on money, never taken a course, never once asked, how can I learn this? Because he doesn't believe it's for him. He thinks wealth is for them, so he stays right where he is, tired, angry, and stuck. Then there's James, 48, same income, same job type. But instead of bitterness, he got curious. He started reading about investing, took a weekend workshop on taxes, bought a duplex, and started renting out the second unit. Nothing flashy, just action. In 5 years, he's still working, but now he chooses his hours. He doesn't miss family events, he has savings. And most importantly, he's building something, not because he had it easier, but because he rewrote the script in his head. Tip to apply now. Write down every belief you were taught about money growing up. Rich people are, money does, people like me can't. Then look at that list like poison. Ask yourself, is this helping me or holding me back? Choose one belief to destroy this week. Replace it with a new one. Say it out loud. Money makes me more generous. Wealth gives me time with my kids. Freedom is my responsibility. A Stoic doesn't demonize wealth. He doesn't worship it either. He uses it wisely, calmly, strategically. He knows money is not the goal, but it is the fuel. It gives him space to lead, protect, and provide. Not someday, now. So stop blaming the rich. Start learning what they know. Stop clinging to your victim badge. Start building your freedom. You don't have to become a millionaire, but you do have to stop being blind to what's possible. Because no one is coming to save you, and no one is holding you back more than the story in your head. Change the story. Change your life. Number 14. You ignore the small leaks that drain your money. You didn't notice the $3.99 charge last month or the $7.99 the month before. You signed up for a meditation app, forgot about it, a streaming platform just to watch one show, a cloud storage service you haven't used in a year, a free trial that turned into a monthly charge because you didn't cancel in time. These aren't big expenses, that's why they slip through. But small leaks sink big ships, especially when you're not paying attention. Modern spending is designed to be invisible. You're no longer handing over physical cash or even swiping a card. It's all auto-renewed, background charged, quietly withdrawn without alert. And because each amount feels tiny, you ignore it. But over time it stacks. $5 here, $12 there, $30 for something you forgot you ever signed up for. Multiply that across a year, and you've lost hundreds, sometimes thousands, without realizing it. Not to emergencies, not to big-ticket items, but to digital dust. This is the new form of poverty. Quiet, digital, automated. You work all month, cut corners on food, hesitate over buying a book, but meanwhile, 10 different apps are pulling money out of your account while you sleep. You're not bad with money, you're just not watching the door. And the thieves don't knock anymore. They use your password. The Stoics warned against unconscious living. Marcus Aurelius said, "The cost of a thing is the amount of life you exchange for it." That $12 subscription you forgot about? That's 30 minutes of your labor gone. The $50 worth of unused services each month? That's 5 hours of freedom you traded for nothing. This isn't about being stingy. It's about being awake. Let's take Liam, 35, content marketer. Made decent money, but always felt short. He cut coffee, cooked at home, never traveled, still broke. One weekend, out of curiosity, he downloaded an expense tracker app. In 10 minutes, it found $287 a month in forgotten or unused services. Fitness apps, premium editing tools, a language course he hadn't opened in 6 months, $287 every month. That's $3,444 a year. Almost a whole month's salary, bleeding silently. He canceled them all. Reallocated the money into a high-interest savings account. Used part of it to pay off his credit card faster. Within 3 months, he had breathing room. Not because he earned more, but because he finally saw the leak. Here's the deeper issue. Modern platforms count on your forgetfulness. They design frictionless signups but make cancellations tedious. You need to dig through menus, send emails, sometimes even call someone to cancel, and most people won't. Not because they're lazy, but because they're distracted, overstimulated, exhausted. The system profits from your mental fatigue. You have to fight that. Not with emotion, but with systems. Discipline isn't about sacrifice, it's about visibility. You can't control what you don't track. You can't fix what you don't see. Tip to apply now. Go into your bank or credit card statement. Look at the last 60 days. Highlight every recurring charge. Ask 3 questions for each one. 1. Do I use this? 2. Is it helping me grow, rest, or earn? 3. Would I sign up for this again today? If the answer is no, cancel it immediately. Even if it's $2. Even if you think I might use it one day. That mindset is what's costing you. Next, create a calendar reminder every 30 days labeled leak check. Make it a non-negotiable habit. Review your statements, review your auto-renewals. Stay sharp. Stay in control. The man who controls his environment controls his future. If you're bleeding money in the background, your budget will never make sense. You'll always feel behind, no matter how hard you work. The Stoic doesn't fear loss, but he doesn't tolerate waste. He builds his life on what's essential, not habitual. And that includes the hidden flows of his money. Because it's not the $500 mistake that ruins you, it's the $10 $5 ones you never notice. Over time, they do the same damage with none of the urgency to make you stop. So stop. Look. Clean house. Not because you're broke, but because you're done being blind. Closing. You've just heard all 14 financial habits that don't scream for your attention, but quietly shape your reality. Some are obvious, some are subtle, but none of them are harmless. Because when left unchecked, these habits don't just affect your bank balance. They affect how you think, how you show up, and how free you actually are. The goal of this two-part series wasn't to overwhelm you. It was to reveal the truth most people never face, that money problems aren't just about income. They're about behavior, discipline, self-honesty. And until you take full ownership of your choices, no strategy, no job, no economy will save you. But here's the good news. Habits can be broken and rebuilt. Slowly, quietly, with intention. One decision at a time. The Stoic doesn't wait for motivation. He doesn't need hype. He just takes the next right step, and then another. If you've made it through both parts, I want to say this. Thank you. Not just for watching, but for choosing to confront the patterns that keep most people stuck. That alone separates you from the crowd. Now it's time to act. Pick one of these 14 habits, the one that hit hardest, and commit to replacing it. Track your progress. Stay with it. Watch what happens when you stop making excuses and start making moves. If this series helped you, like this video. Share it with someone who's stuck in the same cycle. Subscribe to Victory Stoic for more content that doesn't sugarcoat the truth, but shows you how to rise through it. And now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment with, "I choose clarity over comfort," or share the one financial habit you had to kill before your life started moving again. Your breakthrough might be the push someone else needs. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay disciplined, and stay free.